Hey guys, welcome back to Covenant Canon. So, it's been a few months since the end of the second season of the Halo TV show, and I kinda want to make a short little theory crap video regarding the main villain of the season, the Arbiter, Var Gatanai. As most of you already know, most assets from the Halo TV show have been imported from the games themselves. With that said, however, 343 Industries has already confirmed that stuff found in the Halo TV show can also be imported into the main canon. They proved this a few months ago back in February, where Silver Team was at last brought into the main canon as an offshoot of Gamma Team, a Spartan 2 detachment that we see in Halo Wars. With all that said, I begin to wonder, what role would Var Gatanai play in the Halo canon? Would he still be an Arbiter, or would he play some other role in the Halo canon? Well, in this theorycraft video, we're going to talk about just that. Without further ado, let's theorize on what Var Gatanai could have been in the Halo canon. Before we actually talk about his role in the canon, let's talk about everything we know about Var Gatanai. Before he was made the Arbiter, he was the Supreme Commander of the First Fleet of Solemn Accord. But for whatever reason, he was stripped of that station and made the Arbiter, where he and McKee were tasked with recovering the keystones that the UNSC took at the end of the first season. With that said now, let's examine what we know in the canon. During the Human Covenant War, there have only been two Arbiters during this time, Ripa Mormi and Thel 'Vadam. Both of them were part of the line of Immaculate Succession. These were Arbiters that succeeded Val Chavami after his failed rebellion during the events of the duel. Those who were chosen in this line were disgraced commanders who held a lot of influence within the Covenant, enough to worry even the Prophets. According to the Halo Encyclopedia from 2022, there were a total of 18 Arbiters in this line. Now, I know what everyone's thinking. Why not just make Var one of the 18? Somewhere between Ripa Mormi and Thel 'Vadam. One problem with that though. Ripa Mormi was said to have been the 17th Arbiter within the line, which can only mean that Thel 'Vadam is the 18th and the last Arbiter of the Covenant. Now if Var is brought into the main canon, he can't be an Arbiter, at least not during the Human Covenant War time. Now with that said, I do have two possible theories on where Var could belong in the Halo canon. The first one is obvious. He could be one of the 16th Arbiters in the line, but he would have to be a predecessor to Ripa Mormi, so he can't be involved at all in the Human Covenant War, unless there was already an Arbiter at the very beginning of the Human Covenant War, which seems highly unlikely. Now let's talk about the second possibility. In the Silver Timeline, Var Gatanai was the Supreme Commander of the First Fleet of Solemn Accord, but that fleet has been used before in the main canon. For those of you who have not read Halo: The Fall of Reach, there is one particular battle that happens in the book, the Battle of Sigma Autonis IV. In this battle, Jacob Keyes, who is now a commander of a UNSC destroyer named the Iroquois, battles against the Covenant Second Fleet of Solemn Accord. In this battle, he performs the famous Keyes loop that wins the battle for the UNSC. Now regardless of the name of the Covenant fleet, it can be possible to have Var Gatanai as the Supreme Commander of the Second Fleet of Solemn Accord. And recall, if you will, that a few Covenant ships escaped once the battle was lost. It may be that Var Gatanai was on one of these vessels and fled to High Charity. It could very well be this battle that disgraces him in the eyes of the Prophets. Now, like I said, he can't be an Arbiter at this time, but there were other ways that Sangheili commanders could be punished for such disgraces. Var Gatanai could have been obviously executed for his failure, or he could have been reassigned or demoted. Now, if the latter is true, he could obviously be assigned to a CPV class heavy destroyer, as those ships were meant to be filled by disgraced individuals. But the prophets could also make him a commander of a fleet that's patrolling around the Covenant fringe. Now, there have been two instances where this has happened. The first being with Arkad Nar Kulul, who caused a minor offense with a steward of the Prophet of Tolerance, who was sent away in exile. The second being Zaitanjar Watinri, who was feared so much by the High Prophets that they sent him into exile away from the front lines. Now with these two cases, it seems more than likely that Var Gatanai would have shared their fate if he was the commander of the Second Fleet of Solemn Accord. Now whether or not he would have survived the entirety of the Covenant War and into the Blooding Years and the Created Uprising and the Rise of the Banished, that remains open to be seen. But that seems to be the most likely outcome for Var Gatanai if he was ever brought into the main canon. But as I said before, Var Gatanai could very well be an Arbiter in the Halo canon, but he would have to have been a predecessor to Rebel Morami. Hell, he could even be one of Val Chavami's predecessors, being one of the Arbiters during, or hell, even before the Covenant began. It would be really cool to see him as some ancient Arbiter Judge King. But what do you guys think of my theory? Do you think it has merit? Do you think it's just far-fetched? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time guys, may the light of the rings guide your path. Victory to clan and kin, Covenant fans. Covenant Canon, out.